Welcome back to Topic 6 for Algebra 2, Relations and Functions. In Part 1, we're going to determine if a relation is a function based on if it meets a specific criteria. So, a function is where a relation has only one output, also known as y, for every input, or x. In other words, this means that your x value cannot repeat. Let's look at a few different representations of relations and functions. There are ordered pairs, mappings, tables, and graphs. For ordered pairs, you might be familiar with this as it looks like a bunch of points. So we can look at our ordered pairs, which are labeled in the format x, y, to determine if this relation is a function or not. We want to specifically look at our x values. Are there any x values that repeat? Here, there are no x values that repeat, so this is a function. Let's move along to mappings. Now, mappings go in the format from x to y, from our domain to our range, from our input to our output. Here we want to look, are there any values that are mapped to two different outputs, the same input that maps to two different outputs. If we look here, we see that -2 maps to 9, but -2 also maps to +2. If we were to convert this to an ordered pairs, this could be rewritten as -2, 9, and -2, +2. So this is not a function because our -2 repeats. Now let's look at it in the tables format. Here we have our x values on the left and our y values on the right. We want to specifically focus on our x values. Are there any x values that repeat? There are no x values that repeat, although all of our y values repeat. It's all -1 on the right-hand side. However, for a function, our y values do not matter. So in this case, yes, it is a function because x does not repeat. Now with graphs, there's a specific way to tell if our graph is a function or not. It's called using the vertical line test. If we draw a vertical line through our graph, it can only pass through the graph or hit the graph once. So here, let's take a line and draw it right through our graph. Here, notice how our line touches our graph at this point and this point. Since our line touches our graph more than once, in this case twice, it is not a function. Now, some people might say, but I can draw a line on this side of the graph and it only touches this point once. However, because there is another vertical line that you can draw through the graph and it touches the graph more than once, it is not a function. So in this case, we would say it fails the vertical line test. Let's go through a few more examples. Here we have a table format, although it's a horizontal table instead of a vertical table, with our x values on the top. Do we have any x values that repeat? We have -1 and -1. So unfortunately, this is not a function. For number 2, we have a graph. This is actually an absolute value function, which I guess I just kind of gave away with saying absolute value function. If we draw a vertical line through this, though, it only touches our graph one time, and we can draw infinitely many vertical lines, and they will only pass through our graph once. So yes, this is a function. Number 3, we have a mapping. But here we have -2 goes to both +9 and +2. So this is not a function. Again, we can write it in the ordered pairs. And notice that -2 repeats. Last but not least, in number 4, determine whether the relation is a function. Here we have some ordered pairs. We want to look at all of our x values, not our y values, but just our x values. And we do not have any x values that repeat, so this is a function. Yes, Steve. Oh goodness, long day. Okay, thank you for watching topic 6 for Algebra 2, part 1. I hope you enjoyed the video.